The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Wicked Weed studio. Happy Saturday morning to you, the eve of the full slate of NFL games. Obviously, Thursday night we had the opener against or between the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is a continuation of our Friday episode of the Week 1 rankings at every position. Quarterbacks and running backs, you can find that here in the Sportsocracy in the YouTube feed. Also, let's get into wide receivers and tight ends. We got the top 40 wide receivers for Week 1, top 20 tight ends for Week 1.
And on thesportsocracy.com, you'll be able to find all of our Week 1 content, which should answer practically any question you could ever ask us. We are not actually here. This is recorded, as will our show in the morning, because we'll be at Bank of America Stadium watching my Jets victoriously take the field Week 1 against the Carolina Panthers.
Victoriously? It's a victory that they got to Week 1? Is that what you're saying?
We could win.
We'll have your full... Yeah, we'll have your full picks here in the Sportsocracy tomorrow morning. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you know every time our content comes out here in the Sportsocracy. We are, as always, in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Get into it here. Wide receivers for Week 1. The number 1 wide receiver on the week for you, Tyreek Hill.
I like Tyreek a little bit better than Devontae Adams. Devontae draws Marshawn Lattimore. Tyreek's going to get Denzel Ward. Mm-hmm. I don't think Denzel Ward can hang with Tyreek. I can see Tyreek Hill having a gigantic day. Because unlike you, I actually think the combination of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, it's not going to in any way slow down Travis Kelce. Mm-hmm. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. It's not going to stop Travis Kelce, but I think it might slow him down a little bit. When we get to tight end rankings, you'll see exactly how much that means to me. Secret time? It's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
I've still got Devontae Adams at 2, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Brown. If you're playing DraftKings, this is the order that I would have them in raw points.
Right.
We have, if you go to the website, thesportsocracy.com, you'll be able to see my player pool for DraftKings this week, which factors in salaries.
Yeah.
Obviously, anybody in the first column, if you have them, you're playing them.
Right. Calvin Ridley, Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk is a guy that I'm just markedly higher on than the rest of the industry. I have him, I think, 7 spots higher than everybody on every one of the major ranking sites. Ayuk is a guy that is better than you think he is because he didn't play as much last year as one would like. Mm-hmm. When he was healthy and he was in, he was good. Detroit is not good. And Jeff Okuda's who's going to be tasked with stopping him, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, he's not going to be good at that. I have no problems with the top 10. Brandon Ayuk, I would probably fade a little bit on the list, but it's not going to be far.
Well, I mean, the question is who you're going to put in front of him.
Robbie Anderson for this week.
I thought I was high on Robbie Anderson.
Mm-hmm. I would probably have him behind, probably the next 5. Robert Woods, Keenan Allen, Juju Smith-Schuster, Julio Jones, probably right in there.
You're right where everybody else is.
Yeah.
I'm a little higher on Ayuk. I'm going to have a lot of him in DraftKings this week. I think he's going to have a big week. If he were to not play, Deebo Samuel would go from his current spot. How high would he go? He's at 23 now. He would probably go to 12 if there was no Ayuk.
Okay.
But Ayuk would have to not play. If you want to ride the lightning that Ayuk's a little dinged up, you can play Deebo Samuel, thinking maybe he doesn't get a full regimen of targets, full regimen of snaps. I don't think that's going to be a problem from what I have been told.
Robert Woods and the L.A. Rams going up against the Chicago Bears. I have already mentioned several times this week in the run-up to this game. I'm not interested in the Chicago Bears secondary outside of Jalen Johnson.
Well, Jalen Johnson's who's going to be on Robert Woods.
Right. If it's not Robert Woods, then it's going to be Cooper Kupp. So depending on that, I might actually consider flipping Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp on this list because of the shadow job.
I'm not doing that. I don't think this is going to be an air it out kind of game. If you gave me the over/under on Matthew Stafford attempts, I would say it's 36.5.
Okay.
If that's the case, I would say 8 of them go to Woods, probably 8 of them go to Cooper Kupp. And then you'll get some mixture of Van Jefferson and Deshaun Jackson, Tyler Higbee, that are all in that 2 to 5 range. Mm-hmm. If you told me Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp had the same number of targets, I'm markedly higher on Robert Woods than I am Cooper.
For me on this season, I mean, the LA Rams offense, I get that there are names there. There are names that we trust. It's one of those I want to see it first kind of things.
And that's, if you saw my quarterback rankings, you saw that I feel the same way with Stafford.
Yeah.
I think they're going to run markedly more than people believe. People don't believe, since Cam Akers is not there and they don't have a true number 1 back, people think they're just going to air the ball out. Well, Sean McVay's history says that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I would say Michelle's going to see somewhere in the neighborhood of, I would say 16 touches to Darrell Henderson's 14.
Okay.
I think it's going to go somewhere in that neighborhood. And, I mean, you see how I think the game script's going to go. Mm-hmm. That has me with, pass to run ratio at like 54%, something in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, some people would say I'm too low on Cooper Kupp. I don't think that I am. I kind of lump him right in with Adam Thielen.
Yeah. Keenan Allen at number 13.
I wanted him lower. I wish he was lower. The more I'm looking at him, the more I wish he was lower.
You afeard of Kendall Fuller?
Not so much that I'm scared of Kendall Fuller. It's more that I'm scared of this Washington football team defense. Mm-hmm. I could see Josh Palmer getting behind the defense at some point and hitting a big old biggin. He's a dart throw in DFS for me. You have to be real brave to roster him because he may not see more than 4 or 5 targets. But he is definitively the 3, and that dings Keenan Allen for me. I think Josh Palmer's probably the best receiver that Keenan Allen's ever played with.
Yeah.
Yes, I do think he's better than Mike Williams before anybody else. Mainly because Mike Williams breaks every time the wind blows.
Let's talk about Tyler Lockett. They are going to let Russ cook. They have committed themselves to that. Tyler Lockett is a guy that I feel like you've been too down on. Not saying that you've been disparaging. Yeah, I'm not saying that you've been disparaging against him. I'm just saying I think you've been underestimating what Tyler Lockett can put up, and I know that he is a prime boom or bust poster child in the NFL of having super good weeks and then disappears. But I don't know that I see that this week.
I don't see it this week. I'm not. If you're talking about I was low on him in season long. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you look at his game logs last year, he had a 53, a 37, a 33, and 6 single-digit outputs.
Right.
That's not something I want from a receiver that I'm taking in the 4th, 5th round.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm down on him as a player. That's a lot of workload between him and DK Metcalf. This week, I actually have Lockett hurting Metcalf a little bit because I think Tyler Lockett can manipulate Indianapolis a little bit. I think Dwayne Eskridge is going to have a role. I think Gerald Everett's going to have a role. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they're going to be able to run a greasy peg up a cat's ass. So that's why I have 2 Seahawk receivers in the top 16.
At number 17, you got DJ Moore. We've talked about him going up against the Jets. Number 18 is Deontay.
The thing I'll tell you with DJ Moore, be careful with the Jets. The best thing they do is stop the run with the current setup on defense. I want you to just say this out loud. Quinnen Williams is now playing the interior in a 4-3. He was a monster as a D-end in a 3-4. What do you think's about to happen?
Right.
So before you go, Christian McCaffrey's the play of the week. Okay. I just remember I told you this. Could McCaffrey have 100 receiving and rushing? Sure. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't. I think the receivers for Carolina are what you want. But be careful with DJ Moore. The best corner for the Jets plays in the slot. Mm-hmm. And they have a slew of them. That's why I like Robbie Anderson so much this week.
Deontay Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers there at number 18.
That's more a guess that I think he's going to catch Tre'Davious White. I think he's the one that gets Tre'Davious White.
I would agree with that. The last time these two teams played, he caught 4 balls for 40 yards. and it wasn't anything to write home about.
Yeah, but he's more involved in the offense now. I think teams having an offseason to see that. That's why I have Juju at 14. I think he's going to have a lot of catches. He may or may not get in the end zone. That's going to determine whether I'm too low or too high on him.
Yeah.
I would say Juju's going to have 8 to 10 catches in this game. He was 8th in the NFL in catches last year. So, and now he's got, we'll say, healthy Ben. Right. I'm not going to, he's in the best shape of his life. Piss off. No 39-year-old human is in the best shape of their life. I don't care how many avocado ice cream cups Tom Brady eats. It's still bullshit, and it's a line that drives me nuts.
At number 19, you got Adam Thielen.
I wish he was lower.
Why? What scares you about him this week?
It's the way they use him. I'm hoping Kubiak 2 is going to be better than Kubiak 1 was at using Adam Thielen towards the end, in 2020 predominantly. Mm-hmm. Put him in the damn slot and let him go. He's an elite slot receiver. If I knew that's how he was going to be used, I would be fine. I'm a little nervous about Chris Herndon because Chris Herndon, they gave up serious draft capital to get Chris Herndon. Mm-hmm. So if you think he's just going to be an afterthought, I got a bridge to sell you. I just think there's a lot of mouths to feed, and it's Kirk Cousins that's feeding them. Yeah. That makes me a little nervous.
He didn't have much problem last year feeding Thielen and Justin Jefferson. And
there's also a big blowout risk here.
Yes, there is.
Big blowout risk.
Yeah, going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, that defense is bad. Cooper Kupp's at 20. You got T. Higgins at 21. I like T. Higgins more than...
He's my favorite Bengals receiver this week.
More than anybody else in that receiving core. I think he's going to be not only this week, but season-long.
I think he's the one. I think he's the number one receiver in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. He's what they wish Jamar Chase was.
Exactly. Number 22, Allen Robinson. You don't normally see him down in the 20s.
You do when he's drawing Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
I just think Darnell Mooney's a guy that I almost had in the top 40. I don't know how well this is going to go for Chicago. If Justin Fields was playing, I'd have Darnell Mooney in the top 30. Mm-hmm. He's not, and I don't. I do, however, like one of their targets that we'll get to in a few minutes.
Number 23 is Deebo Samuel. 24, Corey Davis.
I'm higher on Corey Davis than most. Somebody for the Jets is going to score. Somebody for the Jets is going to rack up targets. A lot of people think it's Elijah Moore, and I think they're underselling the fact that he's been off the field a lot. And Zach Wilson and Corey Davis have developed a rapport. He'll be covered by J.C. Horn, who's a rookie. He's also a rookie that has a bit of a reputation for being a little grabby. So I could see a ton of targets going Corey Davis's way.
Against the Giants secondary, Jerry Jeudy, is he a must play for you this week? If you've got him on a team,
it depends on what. Nobody's a must play.
Right.
I mean, DK Metcalf's not a must play this week if you have Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, and DeAndre Hopkins.
How the hell would you do that?
Dynasty.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't thinking about
Dynasty league where you've been trading to somebody.
Where
Christian
I've been
McCaffrey
trading.
for AJ Green.
Stop it. You're never going to let me live that down.
No, not until death.
God almighty.
You gave up the cheat code of fantasy football for a broke down receiver that just so happened to happened to go to the school you like. Now, granted, it was before we knew what Christian McCaffrey was.
Thank you.
But not long, and we had already seen it.
Not at that point.
Oh, yeah, you had seen how good he could be. It was only a few games, but you saw the talent. I want it known that I vetoed that trade and I got shot down.
Damn you people, allowing that to happen.
Yeah, but in terms of Jerry Jeudy, he's such a good route runner that I don't really care who lines up on him. I think Bradbury's going to be on Cortland Sutton.
Okay.
And Jerry Jeudy's just such a good route runner. Mm-hmm. Plus, he's the underneath guy. Noah Fant's a little banged up, which I think could lead to him getting more targets in that short to intermediate space. I like Jerry Jeudy this week a lot.
All right, how about, let's see, Chase Claypool, who's the guy I like in Pittsburgh this week.
Chase Claypool's the one I like the least in Pittsburgh. Very boom or bust. I could be totally wrong on that. Yeah. Deontay Johnson's the most talented. Juju Smith-Schuster's in the best spot. And I shouldn't say I'm down on Chase Claypool. I have him as a high-end wide receiver 3. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not super down on him.
I'm saying
I just think he's the least likely to score.
Yeah. Of the three, I think he's the one I like the most, so you're probably right. Tyler Boyd at 27. Laviska Shenault, who I think could have a big week this week with Trevor Lawrence throwing him the ball.
One of my favorite stacks this week is in DFS is Trevor Lawrence with Laviska Shenault and Marvin Jones. I like it a lot, and I think it's going to be somewhat uncommon. Because there's a lot of low expense options to stack, and that's just one that I don't buy DJ Chark. I've listened to Urban Meyer. There's a lot of shade being thrown DJ's way. So.
Jarvis Landry going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. You think no
Tyrann Mathieu.
I was going to say, is there a chance that he puts up a big week this week?
I can see him, especially if there's no Tyrann Mathieu. That's the little Swiss Army knife. I don't buy Odell Beckham Jr. I'll tell you the sleeper in Cleveland is Donovan Peoples-Jones. I said this at least 3 months ago, and I've done nothing but keep hearing it. Odell Beckham snaps are going to be limited. They know what he is. They're scared of injury, and they really like Donovan Peoples-Jones. I won't be shocked if Odell Beckham is the third Browns receiver in snaps this week.
Wow. Marquez Callaway, the new guy on the block for the New Orleans Saints.
This is what a hedge looks like, because I'm afraid he's going to get Jair Alexander, which makes me hate him.
Yep.
But Green Bay doesn't do that, or they didn't for the last 11 weeks in the playoffs of last year. So they would have to kind of audible how they do business. It's not unheard of. They've done it. And Marquez Callaway, to me, is just easily the best receiver in New Orleans.
Yeah, and if he's the only one that they're scared of, then you very well could see the shadow tactic.
If you think he's going to be shadowed, he shouldn't be in the top 40. If you don't think he's going to be shadowed, he should be in the top 20. Weird. He's at 30. That is what a hedge looks like.
Splitting the difference. All right, and then the back end of the top 40 wide receivers for week one, Devontae Smith.
That's my second favorite Eagles target.
Michael Pittman Jr.
He's the only receiver on that team.
Yep.
He could see some aggressive coverage.
Brandon Cooks for Houston going up against Jacksonville. I mean, there is some room there, but I mean, are you not afraid of Griffin being on him?
Brandon Cooks will be. I'm markedly lower than everybody else is on him. He'll be double covered all day long. Tyrod Taylor's not great to outside receivers. I'll be honest with you, my number one receiving target in Houston is Jordan Akins, and it's not even close. He's a dirty little secret in DFS this week.
Okay. Kenny Golladay at 34, Marvin Jones Jr., Odell Beckham Jr., Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, Cortland Sutton, and Marquise Brown round out the top 40.
The one of those that I need to mention is Hollywood Brown. If I knew he was healthy and I knew he was acclimated, he would be higher. I don't know either of those, so I flaked and put him at 40.
Right.
I think this is going to be a huge Lamar Jackson week. I think it's going to be a huge Mark Andrews week. Speaking of Mark Andrews.
Top 20 tight ends for week one in fantasy football. It's Travis Kelce, no matter what. Don't care about Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He's a fantastic football player. One of my favorite linebackers in this entire draft. However, it's Travis Kelce. He's the pro. He can do everything. And like you said, I don't think JOK can shut him down. Might be able to slow him down, but even at that,
he's still the best option in fantasy football.
Right. What is slow Travis Kelce down? 100 yards and 1 touchdown rather than 150 and 3?
I'm not wild about Travis Kelce this week in DFS. If I'm playing the main slate, I'm either going George Kittle or Kyle Pitts. If I go on the high side, I've got a couple cheaper ones that we'll talk about in just a few minutes.
All right, Darren Waller at number 2, Las Vegas, taking on the Baltimore Ravens.
There's a razor-thin margin right now between Kelce and Waller in week one. I like Waller almost equivalent to Kelce.
Yep. He's no doubt the number 1 target for Derek Carr. Mark Andrews at number 3.
Does not have any receivers. Every receiver on the team's dead. So I like Kittle. If you told me Kittle had a better game this week than Mark Andrews, I'd be nominally surprised, only because of volume. I like Kittle. I just am a little nervous that he won't get a full complement of targets because it could be a blowout. But as I've said with blowouts, if it's a blowout, they got there somehow.
Yeah. And I don't know that Detroit has anybody that can match up against him.
They don't. They have nothing. I mean, if he plays a full game, full allotment of targets, he probably should have been 3, and he would have been right on Darren Waller's tail. But I don't know that that's going to happen.
Kyle Pitts, in his opening week of NFL action, he's at number 5 on the tight ends list just because he's a freak and they'll line him up wherever they can.
The top 5 tight ends in the NFL are just better than the others. They just are. Rookie tight ends scare me. I don't necessarily think Kyle Pitts is going to see every snap. I think he's going to be closer to a wide receiver than he is to a tight end, much closer to Darren Waller than he is to Travis Kelce. So I'm not too scared of Pitts. He will be the highest owned tight end on DraftKings, and it will not even be all that close.
TJ Hawkinson at 6 against those San Francisco 49ers.
It just, again, comes down to talent.
Yep. Talent and the lack of options.
If you took one of the top, I will say 9 guys, you're playing them. They're every week, no doubt, play them. If they're on the field, they should be in your lineup. It's when you get to 10 that things get a little different.
Number 7, Logan Thomas. I want to talk about him for a second. That Washington football team going up against the LA Chargers. I mean, he'll see a steady dose of Derwin James.
And
you don't care?
Nope.
Okay.
I sure do not. Mainly because Derwin James does blitz. I don't think he's going to see as much of Derwin James as you think he will.
Okay.
And with no Curtis Samuel, you're looking at a very thin number of targets in Washington. Curtis Samuel going on short-term IR changes a lot of the way I look at the Washington football team. Logan Thomas is now the no doubt, too.
Right. At number 8, Robert Tonyan.
He's second receiver in Green Bay. They're going to score a lot of points.
Yep.
Lather, rinse, repeat.
Yep. Noah Fant, a little banged up.
He's always a little banged up. Noah Fant's injury status is a lot like my decision-making. It's always questionable.
And then you get into this fun part. When we talk about the running backs, or when we talked about the running backs yesterday, and it was, that little section where you go, I don't know. This is where it comes for tight ends for
Austin Hooper's the streaming tight end of the week.
Yeah, Austin Hooper, Mike Gesicki, Zach Ertz, Jonnu Smith, Tyler Higbee.
Austin Hooper's the streaming tight end of the week. With no Tyrann Mathieu, I actually think Austin Hooper could have a day.
Okay.
Either Hooper will or Jarvis Landry will. Might be both of them. I just don't think Baker Mayfield can sustain that. I think you should believe in one of the two. Totally up to you which one it is. I'm higher on Landry than I am on Hooper, solely because there are other options. I like Gesicki. I'm not overly worried about New England. I know, New England's good. I don't care. Gesicki lines up in the slot. Gesicki winds up as a wide receiver a lot. He's just a big matchup headache. Zach Ertz is, if you're going cheap, Zach Ertz is that dude.
He's the dude.
He's the tight end you want in Philadelphia. I've said that for over a month now. I said if he's on the roster, he's the tight end you want. He didn't age that poorly. Doesn't have a great rapport with Jalen Hurts, excuse me. But I do think he can have a bit of a resurgent game against Atlanta. Atlanta's not good against tight ends. I still think he's going to see number 1 tight end work as opposed to Dallas Goedert.
Well, a lot of people are swayed by what they saw in Philadelphia last year, where Zach Ertz got the most targets, but Dallas Goedert, he outperformed him. And I think that's what everybody's worried about with Zach Ertz. And then they had the contract dispute, and it's been a weird offseason. He showed up with bleach blonde tips, which is weird.
Yeah, and he's locked in.
Is he locked in? All right.
He is absolutely locked in. You said Dallas Goedert was better than him?
I think he was in yardage and statistically speaking.
Let me ask you a fun question about Dallas Goedert. How many double-digit scoring games did he have last year in PPR? Total. Whole year.
4.
He had 24 against the Washington football team in week 1. 18.5 at Cleveland, who was bad against tight ends last year. 20.5 against Seattle, who was bad against tight ends. And 11.5 against Green Bay. Other than that, he never broke 8. You want to know why Dallas Goedert's not on this list? Because he's not fucking good at football. That's why.
Okay.
Because he's a name that people say and they go, I know who he is. Yeah, he's not good. He's flat out not good. I've told you to avoid him. If you have him, you're stuck with him. That's who you have to play. Good luck with that.
Yep.
He'll have 4 good games all year. You'll never know when they're coming. It's going to be infuriating. And guess what? He gets hurt a lot.
Jonnu Smith at 13. Tyler Higbee at 14.
John, who's the healthier of the two New England tight ends? Bill realizes that offense works better with tight ends. That's why he spent the money on Hunter Henry and Jonnu. Jonnu's been around. Hunter hasn't been around as much. If you told me they flipped, I wouldn't be stunned, but that's how I see it.
Well, social media also started flipping out yesterday because Jonnu Smith was seen taking rushing plays in practice. So,
yeah, let me tell you
for whatever it's
Bill
worth.
shows you what he wants you to see. Do with that what you will. Just understand, if you saw it, it's because he wanted you to see it.
Yeah. Gerald Everett at 15. Cole Kmet, 16. Hunter Henry, Anthony Ferkser, Adam Troutman, and Pat Freiermuth round out your top 20 tight ends for week 1 in fantasy football.
Of those back 6, the ones Gerald Everett, I've already talked about Seattle. They're going to throw a lot because I don't think they're going to be able to run. Cole Kmet is the tight end I want in Chicago. Bad quarterbacks lean on tight ends. Cole Kmet's the better of the two tight ends, not even close. Hunter Henry, I mentioned with Jonnu Smith. Anthony Ferkser, I don't know that Ryan Tannehill can sustain 3 targets. If he can, Ferkser should probably be a little higher, but I'm not jumping up and down about it. Adam Troutman's healthy. They don't have a lot of weapons, and face it, Green Bay's not that great against tight ends.
Right.
And Pat Freiermuth, anytime the quarterback of the team says, hey, that guy's real fucking good, maybe we should get him the ball more, you should probably listen to that.
Exactly. Complete agreement with you on that one. I just think Pat Freiermuth, if it doesn't happen immediately, it is very quickly going to become his show at tight end.
Oh, I can see it happening in week 1. Again, that's another tight end that I think he's going to play a more natural tight end than Eric Ebron does. Eric Ebron's not a great blocker.
No.
Pat Freiermuth can be I'm not going to say a great blocker. He can be a good blocker from the tight end position. I can see him getting snaps solely to help Najee Harris, and he winds up. They've compared him to Heath Miller all offseason. That should tell you everything you need to know.
Agreed. So there's your top 40 wide receivers, top 20 tight ends for week 1 in fantasy football. It is we're going to be here with you tomorrow morning in the Sportsocracy to help guide you through your last minute fantasy questions and all of that. We will not be live. But we will try to hit all of the points because of that to make sure that we can help you out make those last-minute roster decisions tomorrow morning.
We'll be driving at that time, so I'll be in the comments answering questions live. If you want to send them to us, go to thesportsocracy.com. There's a lovely little form page right there, and we will try to answer as quickly as humanly possible.
Absolutely. And get them in now, and then we can try to include those moving forward every week. Don't forget the DraftKings Winner Take Half contest. We are going to split the winnings of each of these contests each and every week of the NFL season with the winner of the contest and Eblen Charities St. Nicholas Project, helping kids in Buncombe County, our local area, having a better Christmas every year. Needy families just, can't afford to put enough under the Christmas tree for their kids, and that's where Eblen Charities comes into play. So help us out with this as well. Get into the $5, $20 contest. You can sign up at thesportsocracy.com.
Even a heartless bastard like me has a soft spot for children at Christmas. And I'm looking forward to just beating the drum slowly on all of you. So come all to the Thunderdome.
Oh, the gauntlet has been laid down. Answer the call and not only maybe win some cash yourself, but to help out local kids in need at one of the most charitable times of the year. Eblen Charities, St. Nicholas Project. We are so proud to be teamed up with them this year and try to raise as much money as possible as we can for the kids in our area. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene.
Yeah.
We'll be with you tomorrow morning for all those last-minute fantasy tips. Have a great day.